Hello everyone, it's Francis David Matthew, Africa's king of decorative concrete business. Now, a lot of people want to know what is stamped concrete, how stamped concrete is done, why are they so expensive, and I know a lot of people have a host of other questions. I'll be going into detail in this video. Now, as the king of decorative concrete in Africa, I will answer these questions and many more right here. Stamped concrete, popularly known as Increte here in Nigeria, is the process of texturing, putting patterns and colors on ordinary looking gray concrete, whether vertical or horizontal surface, that's the walls or the floors, to make them resemble different conventional surfaces like tiles, wood, pavers, trees, and a lot more. Even animal shapes can be done with the use of tools like stamp mats, stamp rollers, your trowels, and others. Now, when properly done, what you have is a surface that is many times harder, stronger, and more durable than ordinary concrete surfaces. Concrete is one of the most durable and expensive material in construction. You can see them use it for bridges, but it could also be done cheaply, as there are different grades of concrete, from the toughest, which is the M25 strength, to less expensive ones like the M15, the M10, and even the M5, with the lesser numbers being less expensive to produce than the higher numbers. M30, which is the highest, is about 4,350 psi in strength. It's also known as bulletproof concrete and can last for centuries, still be in place, looking good, but it is very costly to produce. And a square meter of that could be as high as 8,000 naira. That's close to $20 for concrete alone. With concrete, what you spend is always what you get. Now, with the regular M15, which is usually the ones commonly used for most stamped concrete surfaces that will fade off, have cracks or defects on them, usually from 3 to 4 years of use, sometimes even sooner, depending on the volume of traffic on them. You'll be spending about 3,000 Nigerian naira, that's less than $10, for a square meter of a 3-inch thickness for concrete alone. Price spent goes down as the number decreases to M10, M5, and so on. I recommend that to have concrete surfaces that will stand the test of time, you stick to the minimum of the M20 grade of concrete. Now, the concrete grade is dependent upon the mixed ratio of sand, cement, and aggregates. That's the granite stones, or the chippings, as you may call it. Weaker or lesser grade concrete usually have lesser quantity of cement than the higher grade ones. Cement, being the most valuable material used in making concrete, determines the cost of concrete heavily. Another major component that will affect the price and quality of stamped concrete or Increte finishes is the color hardener used. Now, the color hardener is a specially formulated product, usually in powder form, made to enhance the surface strength of placed concrete before stamping. What the color hardener does, besides giving color to the surface that is applied upon, is to multiply the surface strength of the concrete that it is applied upon by making it denser, harder, and holds up better to traffic and to weathering. Now, let's say you place an M5 grade of concrete. Applying an original color hardener will take it to an M10 or M15 surface strength. That's the strength on the surface, thus increasing the strength to twice what you have at the base, that's beneath the surface of the concrete. So for an M30 concrete surface that's about 4,000 psi ordinarily, the application of an original color hardener will increase your surface strength to over to 8,000 psi, making it more resistant than its plain counterpart without the color hardener. At this point, that surface is beyond bulletproof. It usually requires a precise kind of application method to ensure that the color hardener doesn't flake off a few days after application. Now, having known this, some of you might be tempted to place an M13 or M10 concrete and they use an original color hardener like the Panicrete color hardener to double the surface strength. Yes, that could work and hold the surface in place. But there's a drawback to that though. Because the strength is on the surface alone, a forceful impact like from a sledgehammer or a heavy-duty truck, or even the fall of an heavy object on the floors, could lead to breaks and cracks, as the surface is just a thin layer and the base not as strong will give way on impact or where a heavy weight is placed over it. So in a bid to cut costs by lowering your concrete grade, you could be doing yourself a disservice if you're doing it in an area prone to falls of heavy objects like a warehouse floor or other uncontrolled areas. Now, for indoor areas and little gardens, patios at the back of your houses, this method of saving costs might apply, but it should be done in areas you don't expect long and lasting floors. You just want the decorative appeal temporarily. If you intend for it to last, the minimum concrete grade to use is the M20 concrete grade. Now, another material that affects the cost of stamped concrete projects is the concrete sealer, or the polish as you may call it. This is what gives the depth of color and shine to stamped concrete surfaces. It must be sunny when you're applying this, and also don't get tempted to pigment or color